Hi, my name is Shannon Algiere. I'm Farm Liaison at Stone Barn Center for Food and Agriculture. Today we're going to talk about growing, harvesting, and storage techniques of flowers on the farm. So dahlias are a really exciting crop. There's this instant beauty that comes as you sort of select the varieties. So in the spring, when we take our bulbs out of storage, we get them ready to come out into the field. The way that we prep the beds is by adding compost. Our soil is nice and loose. That's an important component of planting the dahlias. You want soil that has some sandiness to it, a bit of porousness. Dahlias love bone meal, so it's a great idea to add a bit of bone meal where you'll be planting the dahlias. This has already been composted. We lay drip tape irrigation on the beds once they're amended and made. Quite often we also use biotelloplastic mulch to help us with the weeds. The drip tape is an important component in sort of irrigating the flowers because it's great to try to avoid getting the leaf material wet so that we don't encourage things like downy mildew and fungal growth on the plants themselves. So we put the bulbs in about 4 to 6 inches deep into the soil and gently cover them. Now, one of the trickiest things to hold back on, it's so counterintuitive, is it's best not to water the bulbs once they're planted. Let those bulbs push a sprout up, and with that sort of patience, once you see the green material, the sprout to the bulb, that's when you can begin watering them. Once they're ready to water, when they're showing that plant life, dahlias love water. We are really generous with them as they begin to push up their green material. It's about two to 3 waterings a week for about half-hour periods of time. So the dahlias are planted with a spacing of about 18 inches apart. Once the leaf material is starting to grow about close to 10 inches high, we want to be sure that we're trellising the plants. The plants have a really large hollow stem, so they are really susceptible to wind damage and to snapping when we're handling the plant material. We've tried a few different trellising techniques through the years. This year we have a nice sort of weave with a string tie and some nice stakes. So we can essentially surround the plants and keep them supported from both sides. So in the beginning, it can be really hard, but it's important to deadhead your dahlias quite a bit in the beginning, just to encourage them to put that plant energy, growth energy into the leaf material itself. Now, end of August and beginning of September, that's when you'll see the plants really coming into their glory. That's when dahlias are ready to shine. They begin to really stretch their stem growth. And here we have really easy choice as to what we'll be harvesting. So I'm just taking my clippers and following it down to a node. And it's really important for us to sort of strip in the field just so that we don't get some of that extra leaf material in the bucket of water. There's a few techniques post-harvest handling that I could encourage. One of them is to bring a nice hot pot of water out to the field so that you can dip the stem into the hot water and therefore encourage a longer vase life. Another option is to take a lighter and hold it on the bottom of the stem to sort of cauterize that vascular opening. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the varieties that we're growing here at Stone Barns. Some of them have been with us for a long time. That's the beauty of investing in plant material and bulbs, is that each year it'll just perpetuate and you can eventually add collections, share collections, and maybe even sell bulbs as another market outlet. This one, Florel, has been with us for a long time. Beautiful, solid, medium-sized white dahlia, Florel. We also have this exceptionally gorgeous piece, looks like a paintbrush, created it. This is Creme de Cassis. Earlier we talked about Sonic Bloom and Nicholas. We have this lovely bright dahlia called Nettie. And then this really sweet variety, Crichton Honey, nice small bloom. And here we have a nice dark romantic called Blackout. It's so fun to just choose a variety of colors and see how well they go together and be able to select according to some really beautiful market offerings. So we're back in the gardens, in the dahlia patch. We've had a lot of great harvests for the season, and now frost has hit. We're in late October. The team has come out here and cut back all of the plant material, leaving us with a nice base of a stalk system that we can follow to find the bulbs that are left over in the ground. We'll just start to dig them out by creating a nice wide radius around the stalks that we see. This is so that we can try to keep the integrity of the bulbs themselves. Keep them as whole as possible for storage. Any kind of cut into the tuber themselves for storage is quite likely a space that we could introduce bacteria or rot. This is always an exciting part as we dig in to discover how much the plant has been able to reproduce and perpetuate growth through the season. Oh yeah, this is a great variety. Really generous amount of growth this season from an original stock bulb. So this plant itself had an amazing amount of perpetual growth this season. Let's remember, we started with one bulb planted in the spring, and there's this amazing reproduction, therefore giving us exponential growth on the farm. This will help us expand the crops that we can generate for next season. This is also a great opportunity for the farm to have an added value market stream. So all of these extra bulbs can be sold off individually, allowing us to sort of support and really supporting the idea of plants as a wonderful investment. We'll bring this back to the greenhouse, wash it off, and start our division. Have a nice, good, strong nozzle and get this washed down. You can see the stalk here. It's wonderful to start to identify what the growth patterns are as we clean them out. So now we're going to take this plant material and divide the tubers from the central corm. Some gardeners like to do their divisions in the spring, some in the fall. I like to be sure we're dividing them out in the fall because for me it makes for easier storage. So essentially we're going to take these clippers and start to break down some of the root hairs just to give us a little bit more a better view of what we have to work with. Now you can see the tuber here coming off that central corm. The important thing for division is that we're always getting a piece of that center corm. That is where all of the life force of what will perpetuate next season's growth will come from. This is essentially where the new green material will sprout from in the spring. So that's a really important piece of generating next season's success. Just kind of come in here. There we go. So we have this nice example of a dahlia bulb. Take off some of the root hairs. And now this is a beautiful bulb with some of that living center corm to be able to pack up for the winter season. So here I'm going to make the medium that we'll be storing the tubers in for the winter. What I have here in my hand is sphagnum, and then the other is sand. So the medium that I like to make is a combination of sphagnum moss and sand in about a ratio of 60-40. So I'll just kind of mix the sand and sphagnum around, start to break down some of the sphagnum packs. And I'll add a little bit of water just so that we can create a nice moist medium. Give this time to soak up and mix about, and this will sort of hold the tuber so that they don't dry out. Every 2 weeks or so, I like to peek in at the tubers when they're in storage, just to kind of pick a few out and squeeze them and make sure they're not too wet or too dry. The sphagnum and sand are mixed together quite well. Nice light powder. Okay, let's bring the tubers in. Okay, so I have my bulbs, I have my sphagnum sand medium, my bin. What I'm going to do is take some cardboard and line the bottom of the bin. Once I line the bottom of the bin, I'll take my sphagnum sand medium and create a nice layer. Oh, this smells so good. It really reminds me of the smells in spring, because this is what we do a lot of our seed propagation in as well. A nice sterile mix. Okay, now that I have a layer packed down in the bin, I'll take each dahlia tuber and lay it in. Okay. So now that you see the base layer of bulbs packed in without touching, now we'll cover it with a layer of medium. Essentially what we're doing is creating a layer cake. So what we'll do is cover the whole layer of bulbs, and then when we're ready for the next round of stacking, that goes in on top. And then we'll create another layer. So we'll have about 5 layers that will build up in the bin, and then we'll put it into our storage container. Kind of visit them again in the spring, ready to go the next round of the cycle. So thank you for watching and learning a little bit more about what we do here at Stone Barn Center. Be sure to visit our website at stonebarncenter.org and subscribe to our YouTube channel.